Okay guys, so I'm going to try and go through this nice and quickly because you got lots of questions that you wanted me to go through. So first one, solve simultaneously y is equal to 2x and then 2x minus 3y is equal to minus 12. So you can see I've written them both down. I've called the top one equation 1, the bottom one equation 2. That is what I've got here, okay? I rearranged number 1 so that it equaled 0. So I've got x minus 2y. That's what I've done down here. So now I've timed equation 1 by 2 so that my x values are both going to be 2x so that I can get rid of them. So when I times the top one by 2, we now get to this, which is 2x minus 4y equals 0, because everything in that top line has been times by 2. Nothing has happened to equation 3. Now I subtract them because 2x minus 2x is going to give me 0. So I end up with minus y, and the reason being minus 4y minus, and then minus that y again. So a minus and a minus makes a plus. So actually when I've got a minus and a minus, it's really minus 4y plus 3y, and that's why I've got minus y. And then minus 0 minus 12 is plus 12. And then basically it means that y is minus 12. And then I just take the minus 12 and I substitute it back into that equation at the top, the very first one. So now down here I've got x is equal to 2y, y is minus 12, minus 12 times by 2 is minus 24. Those are your two solutions, okay? Next question, number 7. So number 7 is an algebraic fraction that we have to simplify, but basically all it is you need to just factorize. So when I factorize the top, I need two numbers that multiply to make 18 but add to make 3. So that means in my bracket, one is going to be a positive, one's going to be a negative. I know that 6 times by minus 3 gives me minus 18, and 6 minus 3 gives me positive 3. So that's the top. The one on the bottom, x squared minus 9, is the difference between two squares. 9 is a square number, so I knew that the numbers in both brackets had to be 3. And it means one is a plus and one is a minus. Now I've got this, you can see that those two cancel out because they're the same thing. So basically I get rid of them, and that's why you're left with x plus 6, x plus 3. Okay. Question 8 was to simplify this. So what I did was I broke down each question or each part of it and worked out what it is. So 2 to the power of 4 is just 2 times by itself 4 times. So that's 16. 8 to the power of a third means that it's the cube root of 8, which is 2, and then 2 to the power of 1, which is still 2. 4 to the power of minus 2 is 4 squared, which is 16, but we write it as a fraction, so it's 1/16. So now the sum becomes 16 times by 2 times by 1/16. Well, 16 times by 2 is 32. 32 times by 1/16, we can just do it like that as two fractions. It ends up being 32 over 16, which gives you an answer of 2. Then the last one, number 9, make x the subject of that equation. So what you can see now is you basically say to yourself, okay, I'm going to move all my x's to one side. So I added dx to both sides. I then subtract b to both sides. So I'm now at this point where it's ax plus dx equals c minus b. Basically now factorize x, so take x out, so you've got a plus d and it's equal to c minus b, and basically you divide now by a plus d and you end up with x is equal to, because x is just on its own, c minus b all over a plus d. Okay. Then if we go to the questions we were looking at today, so number 6, as I said to you, really you should have straight away looked at it and said, oh, it's a quadratic function, which means it's a parabola, which means it's either that u or that n. Because it's a positive x squared, it's going to be a u. So you just literally have to sketch a diagram that basically looks like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it just needs to look like that. Okay. Next one, number 7. What you should do is think about sketching this as well when it says the gradient of the line. So I plotted my points here. So that's 2, 4. and that one up there is 4, 12. So first off, I look at the difference between the 2 and the 4, because those are the x values. So that's going to be 2, because that would be 2 and that would be 4 on the x. Then now I'm looking at my y values. If that's 4 and that's 12, I know the distance from there to there must be 8. And then all I'm doing is that number divided by that one. So now we do 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4, and that is your gradient. And then the last one, if it takes 8 workers 3 days to build a garage, basically you're going to say 3 times 8 is 24. 24 divided by 6 is now 4, so it's now going to be 4 days. Okay? Hope that all helps.